Hi, Get UNSTUCK Nation. So today we have a guest. His name is Josh Fernandez from Digimar. And yeah, his agency is doing something that one place service or in one place service. So let's see how it goes and how it his entrepreneur journey that he got unstuck and become who he is today. Thank you so much, Josh, for joining the Unstuck Radio today.
Thank you for having me.
So before we start into your entrepreneur journey, I would
Mhm.
like to ask you that who you were when you were younger.
Who I was when I was younger. Um, like we're talking before I was a teenager when I was a kid.
Yeah, what can you remember? Your
Oh
up.
yeah. I think I was like every normal child growing up. I was playful. I loved adventure. That's one thing that I loved. I loved going around and climbing trees and jumping off them, climbing off walls, climbing on walls, jumping off them. I used to climb on up anything and anything I could find and then jump for some reason. And then I just liked discovering new things, and it was always I loved that journey, and I loved friends. I loved making for new friends and hanging out with people and playing with new people. So that's how my childhood was like.
And what makes you become an entrepreneur then?
I think that started in school. So basically in school, what I would do was basically I would sell there were these things called cheese balls, right?
Yeah.
Um, so my mom at the time was working in the UN. So you have an off license shop, off duty shop, and they used to bring them in from Dubai. So
Mm.
you couldn't get them anywhere else. So I used to take them to school with me for a snack. Now, people loved, like, I always used to share, right? I always believed in sharing with people. So some guys ate it, they're like, this is amazing. So he didn't want me to share anymore. He wanted to buy it off me. I'll buy it off you. I'm like, man, then I'll have nothing to eat. It is that, don't worry, I'll buy it for good money. Come on. I'll buy it for like $2. That time it was 89 cents. I didn't know it was 89 cents. But $2, I was like, I could probably buy three more packets. So I was like, all right, cool. So so that began the journey of that. And ever since then, it went around the whole high school that, I had cheese balls and stuff. And I think there was a time, this was crazy. This is when I began to find out the art of supply and demand. I sold it to someone for 200. He bought it off someone else. I mean, sorry, for $2. He bought it off someone else for $5, right? And then he sold it to his cousin for $7. This this
Okay.
is this is a bag of chips for 89 cents, right?
Okay.
And I remember when we were doing like our final year tests and exams, I used to go to this tuition center, and for $1.50 he made a printout workbook, right? So he printed it out and he binded it. And it was just like a study guide, and it was just like super summary of everything you need to know, and different subjects. So maths one, you have one book. Maths two, you have another book. Biology, you have one. Chemistry, physics, like that. So I would approach the smartest students in the school, because they always wanted good grades and they always wanted to look good, and keep up with that. So especially the ladies. So I would sell them that same book that I bought for $1.50 for $6.50. So
Ooh.
I'd make $5 on top. And this was a long time ago. This was like 2006, you know. So so back then, money was worth a lot more. So, and especially for someone who didn't have no bills and nothing to pay, I could get quite a bit of that. I could get, so, I'll find that I make like probably, maybe let's just say it's like, I don't know how much I made. I made under $100 for sure. And that was in the span of just 1 month before the final exams, right? So it was very interesting. It was very interesting. So I guess that's how my entrepreneurial journey started. And then I didn't like the idea of employment at all. So I remember in Texas I was working for I was doing sales in Walmart, Sam's Clubs, um, a lot, selling nutritional drinks, selling direct, this thing called direct TV, which is satellite TV. And then I worked in a call center. And I remember it was after I got fired from that call center because my car had knocked. So it basically knocked, right? And this is Texas. Texas has no public transportation system. And there was no Uber around that time. So it was very hard to get to move around in Texas. So I ended up being late to work once, and I wasn't able to go to work twice because I literally didn't have transportation. So because of that reason, they fired me, and I found myself in a situation where I needed to make rent. So I was making, I think there was an animation software that came out that made it really easy for people that were starting out to do videos for local businesses. So I really made sure that I learned how to do this thing. I was making 50 calls a day saying that, hey, I did a few sample videos. I said, hey, I can do videos for you like this, right? To promote your business. 50 phone calls a day. I was Facebook messaging business pages, right? Back then. And eventually one called and said, hey man, I like what you're doing. I like your stuff. Is there a way we can talk? And I made rent that month, right? I was able to pay bills, just of selling those videos. Into the next month, started to do work for someone else. So this is where the end of the beginning is, right? So that now kicked off my entrepreneur journey where I started doing video animation, right? And had been and did that, I think, all the way up to actively all the way up to last year. Last year is when I think we did our last animation video, and we decided to focus on the digital marketing agency fully. That happened last year, but the digital marketing agency has been there since end of 2014.
How do you think is difference between doing the what would you call it, video outsource, video automation outsource versus the digital marketing agency? How the workflow are different?
Video animation with the digital marketing agency, I would say it's different in the sense that you're there's a lot more different elements involved, right? Especially like when it comes to website design development, it isn't as straightforward, right? It's the language you're using, the platform you're using, the technology that you're inputting into the website, what you want it to do, how you want it to speak to your dream customer, how you want it to function, the layout, the design, so many different things, the amount of pages. For video animation, it's only the length, the type of video animation, because we got to a point where we're doing 14 different types of animation, right? From two types, from three types, we went to 14 types. So it's just basically the style you want, right? Who you're talking to, right? We script it out, and then it's how long do you want it to be. That's it. It's that simple, right? So I would say there's a lot more moving parts when it comes to digital website design development and digital marketing than there is for animation.
And why you guys chose to move forward or into the agency types of thing?
Because it pays more. It's easier because you have the animation industry became very saturated.
Mm.
So you had freelancer.com, Upwork, Fiverr, these freelancers doing all kinds of animation, and people could get things, people will go the cheaper route, right? And it was hard selling the value that saying that, hey, we work with you one on one. We have a very experienced team. We bring a whole team. It's not just a freelancer working. But some of them just saw it as, hey, I have a freelancer, let me work with a freelancer kind of thing. So because of that, our profits were really reducing,
Mm.
and it was getting harder and harder to sell in that environment. So even now, website design development is almost as saturated, but they're very easy ways to stand out from the competition and make sure that you get those high value clients that you're looking for.
Mm. So how your agency different then?
Oh yeah, very simple. We use this thing called the ultimate traffic method. That basically helps e-commerce brands, that's who we specialize in working with, grow and scale their stores in 90 days or less. So in that alone, we have a timeline of 90 days or less. A few other agents, I'm not saying we're the only agency in the world that does that. There are other agencies as well, but they're very few. There are few that say, hey, within this time frame period, this is the result we expect to give you. We expect to get you X result, right? So that's one thing that makes us stand out, and our unique ultimate traffic method, ultimate traffic system, is unique to us. In that we have a formula for how we drive qualified traffic to someone's website and to someone's business.
Mm. Can you tell me more a little bit about that? How automatic that would be like? So you have your own software to generate that, or like you pull in from other sources into one, something like that?
As could you ask that again? Like,
So no, I mean I'm very interested the way you say that automatic lead generation part. Am I correct that? Can you say the formula again? Sorry, I forgot the name.
yeah, the ultimate traffic system.
Automate traffic system, right? So I'm trying to imagine how automate the traffic coming in that sense. That's why. So that would be very interesting. Um,
Yeah,
so you not only help them build the the front end part, but you also help them generate the leads coming in automatically as well. So one stop.
exactly.
This episode is sponsored by Mutita Clothing, like what I'm wearing right here. So if you are a petty sized lady who are looking for high quality apparels as well as a neat cutting and premium pattern, check it out at mutitaclothing.com so that you can be simply elegant by no time. Let's get back to the episode.
Yeah, it's everything from the front end to the back end to the whole basically sales infrastructure.
Hmm. Right.
Mm.
Are you also doing the sales part? Like you have sales team on board, like for admin part as well, or something like that?
Oh
Closure.
yeah, I do the sales part. It's very personal. If anything, I have people. I have once my appointment is booked, once I get appointment booking, I make sure that I follow up with them.
Mm-hmm.
I make sure that I get them on the call and ask them the questions that need to be asked. And from there, they're onboarded, have a project manager that then onboards them. And then from there, my hands are off. But my main role, I think, is that first point of contact with them, because when you're doing a deal that's you're talking about 3, 5,000, 10,000, maybe even $20,000, right? And they're going through a salesperson, and not the leader of the organization, because you see some of these people, they're CFOs, they're COOs, they're CEOs, they're directors, they're MDs, they're GMs, and then they're like, we've made time to come and be on this call, but the person behind the business hasn't or
Going.
can't. So it's very sensitive. You can't have people. You can't just have a normal sales force, because you're not selling lotion. You know, you're selling a customized solution.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. So can you tell me the time that you were working solo at the very start until you have a team full on board like this? How
Oh yeah.
yourself has been transformed from that day?
So I have never actually worked solo. No, only the time when I was starting. That's the only time I was working solo, when I did the first, I think, 3 videos. From then, I have never worked solo. I think in the animation business myself, I did about 3 or 4 animations myself. By then, I had already got an animator,
Mm.
had an editor, and it grew from then. I got an animator, got an editor, you know. almost these two businesses were almost going simultaneously, but the other Digimark was very silent. So the animation is called Web in Motion TVAC, which
Mm-hmm.
stands for the Video Animation Company. So Web in Motion, the video animation company, and that is when I did four, and I'll do that myself. And I did, I think, about 2 or 3 websites as well myself for clients. But actually, I've never done a website 100% myself, to be honest. It's either someone's doing the major setup and I finish, or I do the setup and they finish. So I've always believed in hiring out. So I've worked with a lot of freelancers from around the whole world, right? Different parts of Asia, Africa, Europe, um, Australia, North America, no. Oh yes, not definitely the US, definitely North America. So yeah.
Have you encountered any issue with that part, delegation?
Yeah, definitely. Because I didn't have a system of how I worked. So I would rely on the freelancer's system of how he worked to make sure that my client is getting value, which, there's some things that, I've been scammed before. I've lost money where I've hired the wrong freelancer that's done the wrong thing and have to look for another one. So now I've lost time and money. I mean, I've had these experiences. So I realize if you don't have a process for how you're selling and getting things across, it becomes difficult.
And how do you solve that?
Yeah. Yeah. Right now, especially for Digimark, since it's coming into full fruition, there's so many, like I said, moving parts. We're working on SOPs, standard operating procedures, to make sure we have all those in place. So when a freelancer comes in, it's just sending a link. Do this. Check. He checks all of that out. We see the amount of time that's been taken. Checks all of that out. See the amount of time it's been taken. If he has any questions, he asks them within the system, and we proceed like that.
Since when you realized that you have to have SOP? Or since when you decided to build SOP, even though you realized that you had to create it for a long time?
Oh man, I think it was 2018
Mm.
that I realized that, I need SOPs.
At that time, how many employees do you have? Like, how many team members do you have?
Right now, I would say a team that is currently on the team, I would say 3. So project manager, head of web development, and designer, and soon getting a social media manager. So that would be 4, right? And then because we work exactly like an advertising agency where you have a pool of talent, they call it talent, which is basically outsourcing companies or freelancers that you can tap into to get work done. So my head of development, if he needs like a development team, we have a whole place where you can get a whole development team, and he guides the process and
Mm.
leads that whole process. And the project manager actually guides and leads it, and he leads the team. So
Mm.
that's how it works.
Mm.
And then when it comes to social media management and marketing, we actually have a fulfillment agency that we work with that helps us do a lot of the stuff. We do it ourselves as well. But it's just easier when we have, especially when we're having high value clientele on board, it's best to have those on board as well, so that the client is getting as much value and as much of it as our attention as they need.
Do you ever have the fulfillment issue? Because I know for the fact that I'm a social service provider, and like I see my clients struggling with that part a lot. Like especially when they have a good boat of sales, they usually have fulfillment issue.
In terms of they can't meet up with the demand.
Yeah, or maybe they close too many sales and over their capacity.
Yes, yes. Um, I have had issue with fulfillment like once or twice,
Mm-hmm.
but genuinely no. Um, we don't generate a huge amount of leads a month. for us to be in that situation,
Mm-hmm.
right? You want to be able to make sure you're able to know what you can fulfill and what you can't,
Mm-hmm.
because what will happen is that, and this is from my experience, you you'll end up spending you'll end up spending a lot of time on you'll end up spending a lot of time on one customer and neglecting another customer. So the quality of work then begins to vary, and then the attention begins to vary, and they begin to feel and see that, hey, are you too busy for me? Don't you have time for me? I paid you to manage my business, and you're not doing it. You're not helping.
Right. And in terms of you help e-commerce store, why you chose e-commerce as the niche that you work with?
Because it's dynamic. It's dynamic. It's fun. It's highly scalable, and you can really grow. So so it's just better for our team.
What is your promise? What do you promise within 90 days for the e-commerce, like at least standard goal that they have to achieve once working with you?
That they will grow and scale, or grow or scale. So so basically, if that level where they're growing, and it it may not even be that growth to them means basically they now have a strong brand presence, right? They have a great audience space that they've now gotten. Engagement has significantly increased, right? Sales have increased, right? So that's the growing part. The scaling part is that we're getting 2 sales a day, right? How are we getting 3 sales a day, 4 sales, 5 sales a day, right? Does that answer your question?
Yeah. I just curious because like you decided to do agency, but then why you just like select the e-commerce niche? So when you explain that, it makes sense. Because I to be very honest, I really hate to do inventory. But then once I came back here in Thailand, because I escaped COVID from UK, but right now Thailand is on the third wave currently. My mom told me to like, hey, we should open a clothing store. And yeah, right now I'm on e-commerce right now, but I really don't like those managing inventory and stuff because I prefer to do service based, right? There's no cost. So it's very like, yeah, it's cost me a lot of headache with that. So I understand. Yeah. But to be on the side of the service provider to help them scale, that's like another mindset to help them doing that. So yeah, I love to be on this side more than to be the owner because it's kind of headache. Yeah, that's me. So in case anyone want to work with you, like, can you tell me more about the details of your service that like you cover right now from start to finish in that sense, and where can they follow your work and reach out to you then?
Oh yeah, great question. So if anyone wants to work with us, reach out with us. If you're an e-commerce brand or store, or if you have a website, in general, if you generally have a website and you're looking to say that, hey, how do I make my website work for my business to bring in the most conversions possible? We created basically an e-guide, right, with the 4 questions every website visitor asks and how to answer them. You answer these questions, guaranteed your conversions will increase. These 4 same questions, right, are answered by stores like Amazon that rakes in trillions, billions, a week, right, coming into their store, billions a week, right? just by answering these 4 questions. So if you'd like to find out what those 4 questions are, then just head over to digimark.com/ the website conversion blueprint, right? The website conversion blueprint. You go there. You can easily sign up and download that sheet, and from there it's all yours. Get ready for new conversion. So yeah, that's one way that you can actually get in touch with me. You can also get in touch with me on LinkedIn. My name is Joshua Mady Fernandez. That's Joshua Mady Mady Fernandez Fernandez.
Yeah, so the link will be in the description below, everyone. I think it's very interesting. And if you stay tuned until here, you already see how Josh has been through many experience, and you can see that he already the expert in this industry as an agency who can help you grow and scale your e-commerce store. Thank you so much, Josh, for joining my Get Unstuck video today, and it's a pleasure to interview you today. And yeah, let's get unstuck, everyone.
Hey, thank you for watching this episode. If you enjoy the show, you can subscribe here or here. And this is the previous episode. Check it out. See you next time.